Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew DeSantis.
And I'm Kaylie Shapiro.
And welcome to the Road to the Breeders' Cup.
Santa Anita edition.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another of our videos here on NYRA Bets YouTube, where we're going to be previewing this Saturday's two Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races out at Santa Anita, the American Pharoah and the Oakleaf, joined as always by my colleague Kaylie Shapiro. And a little bit of a different surrounding. We don't have the NYRA Bets backdrop. We're not even in New York. We're actually down here in Kentucky getting ready for opening day at Keeneland. But listen, Kaylie, a lot of great racing out west on Saturday in the American Pharoah and the Oakleaf. Going to be a pretty exciting day.
Absolutely. Santa Anita's card looks great for Saturday.
Yep.
So does Belmont at the Big A, obviously, with the champagne and the frisette. Mm-hmm. And then here at Keeneland, I mean, we have graded stakes action all weekend. Today, tomorrow, Sunday. So definitely a really exciting weekend. But I do love the props out in Santa Anita. It's cool to see what 2-year-olds Bob Baffert has on the scene, as well as some horses from some other trainers that I thought were a little interesting as well.
Absolutely. No. So listen, if you haven't watched it already, we have separate previews for the Alcibiades and the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, and then another video looking at the Frisette and the Gazelle taking place at Belmont at the Big A. So well, listen, we got you ready here on NYRA Bets YouTube. But as we were saying, this is going to be focused on Santa Anita. So let's dive in to these two fields that we have in the American Pharoah. And we'll start with this one because this is actually earlier in the card for the boys. This is actually race 3 going off at 5:03 p.m. Eastern. 6-horse field. You see a lot of familiar names in terms of that trainer, Bob Baffert. He's got a lot of nice horses in this race. Notably absent, though, is Brandt, who, of course, won last time out and beat your morning line favorite, Desert Gate, who is your 3-2 favorite in this spot. And this is a really interesting horse. Desert Gate's a horse you and I both really liked a lot in that Best Pal victory, and I thought ran really well in that the Del Mar Futurity as well last time out.
I thought that this horse ran really well last time out. I thought that it was a smart trip that this horse rode and pretty impressive for a 2-year-old. I thought that Bob Baffert's doing pretty well with all of these Omaha beaches. I mean, last week he had Nevada Beach win. Desert Gate, also sired by Omaha Beach out of a Curlin mare, should have absolutely no problem stretching out. And this horse just keeps progressing. I mean, you look at the second start in the Best Pal, and it looks like this horse took a step backwards, but won pretty impressively.
Yeah, it was wrapped up. I mean,
and was pretty wrapped up. And then last time out, finishing second to Brandt. I mean, that was Brandt's race to win that day. And this horse was able to still pick up second and got a career best figure of an 88, which I think suits him well coming into this. He's my top pick.
Yeah, he's my top pick as well. The pedigree, as you pointed out, the Omaha Beach up top, a sire you and I are both a big fan of. And speaking of being down in Kentucky, we got the chance to see Omaha Beach yesterday at Spendthrift Farm, and you said it. He's a tank.
Yeah, he's a tank, that's for sure.
In the best way.
Yeah,
he is a very impressive physical specimen. And I tell you, $35,000 sire fee, that is a deal in my opinion. That horse is a phenomenal value sire.
And they're just so, all of them are just so solid. You look at the way that they're all made. I mean, it all goes back to Danzig. You look at Hard Spuns, offspring of Hard Spun, similar things. I mean, all of the lines that lead back to Danzig produces amazing horses, great sire line. But Desert Gate, for me, I'd even single this horse. I mean, he's 3-2 on the morning line. It's hard to, endorse, oh, we're going to win money on this top pick. But for me, he's a single. I think this is his race to win. I think he's one of the better 2-year-olds that Bob Baffert has this year.
I agree. This is a horse I was just so impressed by and really, just like this horse so much. Had a really tough time in that Del Mar Futurity, stumbled out of the gate, had to kind of make up a lot of ground. And, just the trip notes say it was a troubled trip and he ran really well for second. And I'll be honest, that did seem like Brandt's race to win in a lot of ways. Brandt, though, not coming back in this spot, I think that tells you kind of everything you need to know about the future of these two potentially. Desert Gate has all the ability to stretch out. Now, underneath, you and I both are looking at a little bit of a price. You like the number 2 Intrepido, who I think makes a lot of sense, is in this spot for trainer Jeff Mullins with Hector Berrios up on the mount.
Yeah, definitely. The horse was able to break his maiden, stretching out to a mile for the first time, got an 84 speed figure there. And to me, that's very competitive coming into this race. I mean, did it in gate to wire fashion, pretty much. I mean, but I think that was also a smart way for this horse to break his maiden. And I like him coming in here at least 6-1. You get a little bit of a better price underneath Desert Gate. But I had a lot of interest in this horse. I think that's a really competitive race to come into this race with, and he's beaten a lot of the horses in here as well.
Yes, he has. And he's run against a bunch of these. And so a very interesting horse. And should be noted, the third place horse in that maiden breaking race, Providence, is the offspring of Monomoy Girl. That horse, of course, went on to win next time out. So flatters the form a little bit there with Intrepido at 6-1 on the morning line. I think, certainly has been training well coming into this spot. 58 flat, 5 furlong work at Santa Anita, 1st to 75 back on September 20th. So this one's feeling good. That's for sure. Jeff Mullen's always dangerous out there with 2-year-olds. So a trainer who I have a lot of respect for can definitely get a upset victory at a little bit of a price. And speaking of a price, you don't often get 10-1 on a Bob Baffert horse. And so that's really was my logic on going to the number 3 Plutarch as my underneath pick. Because again, you and I both like Desert Gate up top. Try to make a little bit of money in the exacta, though. And I thought this horse has shown talent. Still a maiden. This feels a little bit like a Bob Baffert special to some extent of like, oh, is it the other Baffert? Sometimes blinkers are coming on. This horse has made up a ton of ground, both on the dirt and the turf. Quite frankly, ran a huge race on the turf and might ultimately be a turf horse. But you're looking at an into mischief colt out of a Curlin mare. Distance should be no problem at all. No. The 2 career starts have both been at a mile, so they've done the 2 turns, unlike so many others in this field. And like I said, it came flying from the clouds in that Del Mar juvenile turf, or the Del Mar juvenile turf last time, was sitting second to last, 9.5 lengths back, and nearly closed for the win that day. And even the debut where this horse lost to Intrepido, finished second that day, but it was a 5-horse field, and the horse still managed to close into second. So I just think this one at 10-1, the blinkers are coming on. Maybe Kazushi Kimura can get this one settled a little bit closer to the pace, not give him so much self to do coming for home. I don't know. 10-1, I thought at least interesting enough to include underneath.
Well, this is the time of the year to take shots with these 2-year-olds that Baffert has. You don't really know, which one's his best one or which one's supposed to run well here. This one, the only reason why I didn't have too much interest is because I'm just really curious why he ran the horse on the turf. I mean, the horse showed no speed on debut whatsoever. It didn't make up made up ground, not too much, but made up a significant amount of ground on the turf. I don't know how that's going to translate over to the dirt. And I do have my questions on the speed that this horse is going to show, but is getting blinkers on. And that can make a difference for the horse. So definitely is interesting at 10-1. I just wonder what the intentions are with this one going forward, just looking at the fact that he even ran on the turf before.
I completely understood that sort of skepticism a little bit in terms of Plutarch. I just thought, interesting enough to take a shot. Blinkers are coming on. And I thought, in a race where I really like the top choice a lot, to the point where I probably single, let's get creative underneath with some ideas. Now, a horse that you and I both have a lot of respect for is the number 6, Kristofferson. As somebody whose middle name is Christopher with a K, I definitely do identify with this horse a little bit. But I was not named after Chris Kristofferson, who spells his name with K. It's an old law school buddy of my dad's, whose name is spelled that way. And my dad's buddy's son, his middle name is Blaine, my dad's name. So then my dad named me after him.
Oh, that's cute.
So it's very cute. Anyway, these are the sorts of anecdotes that you get here on NYRA Bets. And so listen, let's talk about Kristofferson though. $1.15 million son of Nyquist. That's a big price tag as a yearling, Kaylie. This one certainly ran big in debut. Earned a 90 buyer speed figure, basically did a gate to wire, draws the outside. Big money Mike Smith is up on the mount, but we're stretching out now. Those Nyquist, they're always precocious at 2, but feel like I can try to beat this one, especially going against winners for the first time.
Yes, but I also think that if I'm singling Desert Gate, this would be the horse that would knock me out.
For sure.
Knocked out. I mean, 100%. This horse, I think, is actually coming into the race with the best speed figure out of anyone in here. And he ran that on debut. And he draws the far outside post on Saturday. And I mean, that's going to suit the horse well. Clearly has great speed and has Mike Smith aboard. Should be absolutely no problem getting into a good position. But Yeah, I still like Desert Gate a bit more. I
Yeah.
think that he can pass horses, and he has shown the ability to do that, which impressed me. And
Yeah.
then this one, we don't really know if he has that ability yet, but he was impressive on debut. So one that I'm taking serious coming in here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even though he earned the 90 buyer speed figure, he didn't really win that by a huge margin, just won by 3/4 of a length over Mr. AP, who ran a really big race. Those two were 7 lengths clear of everybody else. Interestingly enough, Juan Hernandez rode this horse in debut, opts to stay on Desert Gate rather than go to Kristofferson. Mike Smith, hey, that's no slouch to bring aboard for Kristofferson. So, listen, we both are trying to beat him. And then a horse that I'll just mention very quickly, you had fourth, was Balboa, 8-1 on the morning line for trainer Bob Baffert. Blinkers are coming off, and that's been a winning move for Baffert over the last few years.
Definitely. Baffert has had a lot of success hitting at 31% in graded stakes, taking the blinkers off for the first time. This one, I'd imagine, is going to take a step up with the blinkers coming off.
Yeah.
As we've seen, he's had success with similar moves in the past. Just one that I had interest in at 8-1, using underneath, maybe wakes up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Umberto Rispoli up on the mount. And so that's going to be one that is going to be a little bit more of a price. But again, try to get a little creative underneath in this American Pharoah. Well, let's shift to the fillies and the Oak Leaf, which is a little bit later on the card. Race number 9, 8:08 p.m. Eastern post time. And this is another 6-horse field with some familiar names. And your morning line favorite is the overwhelming favorite, your odds-on favorite, Explora, for trainer Bob Baffert, with Juan Hernandez up on the mount. This one is very impressive, won well in debut, and then last time out finished second to a big price in terms of Bottle of Rouge, but was your odds-on favorite in that race as well, 3-5, finishing second. Nearly got the job done in gate-to-wire fashion, but just got past late.
Exactly. This horse was just shy of winning a grade 1 in just her second career start. Explora, to me, is the horse to beat here. I mean, 4-5 on the morning line, obviously. I probably could have tried to beat this one, but for me, I'm looking at the fact that, again, here's another, that stat works here as well, taking blinkers off.
Right.
Bob Baffert, I mean, maybe that wakes this one up as well. She can see and be aware of horses coming up on her side, which I think could have helped her out last time out in that grade 1. But this is one that I love the pedigree. I mean, it's a blame filly out of a Bernardini mare. Absolutely love the pedigree. Bob's go-to guy stays aboard. I'd imagine that's a pretty good sign. 88 on debut. Yeah, took a step back in the grade 1 next time out. But I'd imagine second time stretching out again, that this horse could improve and has the pedigree to do so. So the fact that she did take a step back, stretching out a little for the first time, didn't really turn me off of her too much. I think that, she can excel at this distance. So.
No, for sure. And I remember doing a video about this race for that Del Mar debutante. And I said about Explora, I said, however much she makes on the track, she could make tenfold as a broodmare. I mean, you talk about a pedigree for a broodmare, because who are the two best broodmare sires? Bernardini and Blaine are two of the best, certainly. She's got both of them in her pedigree. She's going to be, I want to buy her. I got to talk to Bob. Maybe see if see if my check makes it further than Nick's. We get past the 8th pole. But listen, Explora, very, very good filly. No two ways about it. I'm going to try to beat her with a filly who was very heavily hyped in debut as well. And that's the number 4, Himika, for Bob Baffert. And this is with Mike Smith aboard, taking over for Kazushi Kimura, who rode this horse in the Del Mar debutante. But this is a horse that won the first 2 times out, including the grade 3 Sorrento, curling out of an Into Mischief mare. You'd imagine that distance is not going to be a problem. The Del Mar Futurity the Del Mar debutante, I should say, was not a great effort. Really didn't get off well, though. Was sitting a little further back than normal, was a little bit more inside, didn't have the best break. It made a little bit of a middle move to get up into contention and then faded back. I like that Bob put some bullets into this one since that race, 59-2, 58-2. So this one's been training well leading up to this. And interestingly enough, a horse that's bred by a name you and I are very familiar with in New York, Klarovich Stables. So kind of interesting. Motivated Seller was a Klarovich runner. So it was, I think, just a really interesting horse. And I thought at 3-1, listen, everybody kind of took a step back from a speed figure standpoint in that Del Mar debutante. If she can run back to that 90 in debut that she had at Santa Anita, most notably getting back to Santa Anita, that might be a really big factor here. And I thought I'd take a little bit of a shot with her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the regression in each start,
it's not great.
Turned me off a little bit, but then I saw the way that she's working coming into this, and then I was like, oh, I have to have this one at least in my top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 6 horses here. I'm
Right.
probably going to have all the Bobs, and certainly with the way that this one's working made me include her in the top 4. Yeah. Definitely saw similar things to you, but I had a lot of interest in the number 1, Banzai Betty, as well. This one is for George Papapadromu with Umberto Rispoli aboard, which you don't really see too often, but when they do team up, they hit at a pretty high percentage. I had the exact, I think it was
23% over the last year together. I mean, and that's
over the last year together. And
very interesting.
That's very notable. I mean, I think that this one should run well. Obviously drew the 1 hole, but doesn't concern me because look at the way that this filly ran on debut. I mean, she broke 11 lengths off the field and was able to get all the way up for second, running second to Heaven's Bolt, who also ends up in this spot. So for me, this one's really interesting. I put her in second, I'm pretty sure, because she's a good price, 10-1. Going to try to get a nice exacta there, but we know that she can break from the 1 hole absolutely no problem. And I talk about one that's able to make up ground. I mean, she's probably the best one on paper, to run second or third here. I think that she's pretty interesting.
She is upstart out of the Lemon Drop Kid mare. And absolutely made up a ton of ground and broke incredibly slow on the inside rail that day, going 6 furlongs. Now you're on the inside rail going 2 turns, which is a little bit more advantageous because you're saving the ground, and it's not going to be quite as much of an issue if you get a little cut off. And if this one can sit more of a pocket trip, maybe only give up 4 or 5 lengths instead of 11 lengths, could be really impressive for sure. Rispoli aboard for that one. Another horse we both had a little bit of interest in was number 3, and that is Lawali. For trainer Mark Glatt. That's the horse that came in third in that Del Mar debutante behind Bottle of Rouge and Explora. Did so at a big price at 10-1 that day. Antonio Frezu stays aboard. And again, some progression there from debut to the next start. So maybe a little bit more this next time out. This is a Constitution filly out of a gemologist mare. So you imagine going a little longer is not going to be too much of an issue with this one.
No, not at all. And I do like the steady progression with this one. I mean, got the job done on debut. The figure might not be too flashy, that 62, but got the job done. And then took a step up in her second start. So that's a positive. And I like that the jockey stays aboard as well. That's usually a good sign. But I think I have this one third viewed as a big contender here, just maybe not a win contender, similar to you.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this one is absolutely a contender, one to include. It would have to really progress a little bit more. And another one who comes from off the pace. And so, again, sometimes Santa Anita can be pretty speed favoring these races. So it's just a matter of like how much ground are you willing to give up early and how much are you going to be able to make up late. A horse that I'll just very quickly mention that I had in my top 4 was La Ville Lumiere. This is a Michael McCarthy trainee with Kazushi Kimura aboard. City of Light out of a Malibu and Moon mare. Again, nice pedigree in terms of wanting to go maybe a little bit longer. And what was interesting to me about this horse, didn't break its maiden at Santa Anita, but debuted at Santa Anita and ran at the best figure of her career at Santa Anita with a 74 buyer on the dirt. Then McCarthy goes to the turf. The horse actually breaks its maiden on the turf and then goes to the juvenile fillies turf last time out off a several-month layoff. Finishes 5th that day. Now McCarthy puts the horse back on the dirt. I'm just thinking that maybe the dirt's the best thing for this horse. And even though, she ran really well, obviously on the turf to break her maiden, now your second start off of a little bit of a layoff. You had the experience of going 2 turns on the turf at least before. Now you're doing it on the dirt. You're getting back to the track where you ran your best speed figure. I don't know. At 12-1, I'll throw this one underneath in a trifecta or something like that.
That's respectable. I mean, I didn't give too long of a look at this one, but you bring up an interesting point. I think you're right that this horse is probably meant to be on the dirt. I mean, Mike McCarthy was probably thinking, oh, she broke her maiden on the turf, and we, this one fits in our we can now get maybe place in a listed stakes on the this turf race that's coming up. And clearly coming in off a layoff probably just made sense. But I mean, I'd imagine based on the pedigree that you're right, that the dirt's probably where she wants to be.
Yeah. And listen, pedigree, I mean, that City of Light out of Malibu Moon, you could go a few different ways with her. And so understandable that McCarthy, who's had a lot of success on turf and dirt, that's kind of the beauty of some of these young horses. You see this with Leslie Ward a lot. Try them on the turf, try them on the dirt, see where they end up running their best.
Sometimes they can run on both.
Sometimes they can run on both, and then it just gives you all the more options moving forward, especially if your ownership group is interested in trying to get a filly to the Breeders' Cup. Right. And then, okay, well, which route do we want to take to get to the Breeders' Cup potentially? Do we want to go on the filly's turf? Do we want to do the turf sprint and compete against some of the boys there? Do we want to go on the dirt? So there's a few ways to go when you're looking at these 2-year-olds. But listen, it's going to be an exciting weekend out at Santa Anita, that's for sure. And we are going to be right here on NYRA Bets YouTube, and we're going to be following along. You should be following along with us on NYRA Bets X as well, because we had a lot of great content at Keeneland. We're going to be here on site every single day of the opening weekend meet. So definitely make sure to throw us a follow at NYRA Bets on X, and make sure to press that like and subscribe button here on NYRA Bets YouTube. Kaylie, are you ready to head to Keeneland?
Oh, yes, I am.
All right. I'm not going to eat any bread pudding today, but that's a whole nother discussion and perhaps a whole nother video. For Kaylie Shapiro, my name is Matthew DeSantis, wishing you a great and prosperous day at the races, and reminding you, friends, it's now post time.